And we're live. Hello, everyone. It's been a minute, but
If
look,
you're evil and you're on the rise.
we have so many things to talk about.
Ah.
Let's jump into little quick talks that we want to do. Why don't we start?
Little-
Let's start with
little quickie.
Little Bradley. Actually, I think we took yours away. You don't get one unless you can come up
It
with
was
something.
like, my quick talk is usually Genshin, and I think we have a segment on that later. So,
Bradley can talk about. I don't
Neo?
know.
nah, we got a section on Neo too.
Do we?
Tyler, you can
Right?
go.
Do we?
Yo, we get to hear me talk today. I talk too much anyway as it is.
No, only I talk too much.
I like to fit my talks that I'm doing about anime into this because nobody here watches anime except for me. So let's be real.
It's weirdly true, isn't it?
So I just got done watching season 2 of Slime today. It's that time I got reincarnated as a slime.
Which I hear is very good, actually, and I shouldn't be so hard on it.
I thoroughly enjoy this anime. Like, it started off a little bit overlordish, where I was like, okay, the guy gets overpowered and stuff, but he's a slime, and he's cute, and in the first season, he goes to a hostel and gets shoved in between elf titties. As a slime, too, and I'm like, yo, I can't be too mad at that. So, let's see, what else? The season 2 was really good. It was like, this is really giving me like my politics itch for anime, like in another world, because it's like almost the entire second season was all about politics and like monsters. Like, he built up this country of monsters, and so it's like, how do these monsters interact with the dwarves and the elves and the humans, and like their secret assassination attempts, and I'm getting attacked by my cat. So it's like a little bit of like my Log Horizon itch that I never got in a new Isekai 2021 Isekai world. So yeah, that's my little spiel on that. I've enjoyed it. I think it's a lot better than this other one I'm going to talk about, which is I'm Standing on a Million Lives.
Season 2, I've never even heard of this.
I never heard of season 1.
I talked about season 1 a little bit.
Maybe.
And this is a anime where the main character is, I'm edgy and I hate everybody in my world. So when he goes to his isekai world, he doesn't feel bad about killing humans because he hates them in his world. It's
kind of cringy.
So it is very cringy. It's like if I was 14, I'm like, oh, this is deep, you know?
You hate your own race. You're so cool.
Thankfully,
Yes.
Tyler's 15.
So the unique thing about this show is they flip back and forth between their world and the isekai world, which is actually their Earth in another dimension. And some god is teleporting them between their two worlds and giving them game rules in the other dimension world. But the
rules.
But the rules only apply to them. But it's cool because like they have things where like if they all are dead at the same time, they die forever. And each time they go back, they have a new party member with them. And so like they're slowly building up this party over time. So you get these unique characters like the new girl they just picked up.
Are they
is
people
like
they're picking up, or they get teleported in with new people?
The first few times they got teleported in with new people, but now it's just like happenstance. So like their lives are all crossing together in the real world so that they meet up with each other in the other world. So like the new everybody's been from Japan so far, but this new girl they just picked up is this English, like this American filmmaker who's been finding other people who have been talking about the world that they are. And it's like she's been to France and like all over Europe and like Africa, finding people who are like experiencing the same thing they have been. And now she's teleported with them. But it's kind of cool because like if they get eaten by a troll too, like in the other world, like they can't respawn because they're in the troll stomach. So they have to like slash them open.
Is it called I'm Standing on a Million Lives because he kills a million dudes when he's in that world? Also, why does he have friends if he's a sociopath?
He doesn't. Like they are forced to work together.
Oh,
okay.
Or they all die.
Just like in real life.
So like he's not a complete asshole. He's just a really social outcast. I hate the main character. Like, I don't advocate this main character at all. The story, the world building is kind of what has me curious more than anything. I'm like, I want to see what's going on, but also there's not a lot of good anime right now.
Comes up a lot with these trash isekai that you watch. It's like the world building is what keeps you going usually, I feel like.
Usually, yeah. So like that's what I'm here for a little bit. But yeah, the main character sucks. Like we're not gonna sugarcoat that. But yeah, it's a show.
Cool. And scene. Joe, why don't you tell me about the sexual education you've learned?
Yes. So Sex Education just is a Netflix original series. It just dropped its third season. It's a British humor series as well. I think the main character is the kid from Shut Up and Dance and Black Mirror.
Ooh.
And I'll have to double check IMDb, but basically the concept of the show is Otis, the main character, cannot masturbate. And his mom is a sex therapist, and so has read a lot of books about sex and all of that, just kind of offhandedly because he's just grown up in that household.
I feel like Bradley's got something to say.
No. Oh, no, I was just clearing my throat. I am interested, though.
And what he does is he starts his own little side business at school, talking to all the teenagers as they go through like puberty and stuff like that. It's a comedy drama. And so there's a lot of like you go through a lot of different relationships and like what it means to be in a relationship, the different dynamics of a relationship. You get like gay relationships, bisexual relationships, like open relationships, and like what it means to be in a healthy kind of relationship with not only like sexual, but with the people around you as well. It's really fucking funny. It's got some really good heart into it. It's got some great character development. Each season is like 6 episodes long and only an hour each, so it's pretty quickly to go through. I think it's a really, really good show that none of us talk about. I'm the only person that's actually watched it. I think Tyler's girlfriend would really like the show a lot.
I could see her enjoying it. I think the main reason I didn't watch this show is Big Mouth had come out.
I was just about to say, this seems like mature Big Mouth.
It is mature Big Mouth.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't relate to mature Big Mouth. I relate to immature Big Mouth.
I relate to mature Big Mouth more than I like immature Big Mouth.
Well, I like medium Big Mouth.
I know.
I like medium mouth.
Medium mouth. I think it's very, very good. It's very well shot. I think the characters are also really good. You also get like different age groups. So like you have moms in their 40s and what they're going through, and then like, you know, the teenagers. There's a whole episode. One of the best episodes, like one of the side characters gets molested on a bus, and no one takes her seriously about it, and it just like horrendously scars her for the rest of the season.
Oh, and that's lovely. Yeah. Good comedy, good humor.
I just like they take very serious subjects and like treat them seriously, but add a bit of humor to it as well.
Seems cool. I'm glad someone was there to teach you about these things, Joe. I'm glad Netflix came through.
I grew up in a Christian household.
As for me, I'm going to talk about 2 movies and then do a game that I'm going to use Bradley. I'm going to absorb Bradley's time to talk about. One of the movies I watched was Old. This is the new M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Shyamalan Ding Dong, get it right.
Okay. And basically the premise, and this is in the trailers, is the characters go to a beach where time moves incredibly fast and they cannot escape the beach. So they have to figure out how the fuck they get out of the beach before they age to death. And it's 2 families and a rapper. It's not a setup for a punchline. That's just who's in this beach. Actually, and then a couple. So
2 families and a rapper walk onto a beach where they age very quickly.
One of them says, "I'm old."
The other one says, "Why the long face?"
So it's about 11 characters. The rapper's name is Midsize Sedan, which I think is a very good rapper name. It's also very awful. But they have to say his name a couple of times in serious circumstances, and it's just very jarring. The thing about M. Night Shyamalan is that his dialogue is written very alien-like. I don't know. Have y'all seen I know I've watched The Visit with Bradley, so he's watched that.
They just they don't talk like humans might on Earth, you know?
I feel like in The Visit they speak better, but this is kind of like a The Happening or Signs kind of dialogue. I don't know how experienced any of y'all are, or Split even.
I've seen a lot of M. Night Shyamalan.
I saw Avatar.
So
I'm sorry, that one doesn't count. Even among his bad movies, that one is like on another level.
I've been really excited for this movie coming out. I feel like M. Night is like leaning into his own absurd tendencies a lot more.
Maybe.
So his movies are getting better, worse.
So
he had a downswing, but he's on a weird upswing. I will say I like The Visit
Avatar?
and Split more than this movie.
I like The Visit a lot as a movie. I think it's really a fun show.
do you think people would have liked Split less if it wasn't for the post credits twist?
Ooh, I don't think so. I think that is a fun if you follow the M Night MCU. Yeah, the MCU we'll call it.
Oh yeah, what happened in that?
Split is in the same universe as Unbreakable, and they both feed into the movie Glass.
Oh yeah, did y'all not see Glass? I thought that's what you were talking about when you said
Glass.
Split.
No, Split.
Glass was fun.
Did you not watch Split? You just watched Glass?
I watched Split. I was just getting the names confused.
Anywho, so I bring this all up because in this movie, in the first opening scene, there's so many references to like, oh, I can't wait to hear your voice when you're older, daughter, and son, don't squander your time. We're gonna get there when we get there. And I'm like, oh, I like subtlety is. I don't harp on it as much as other like snobby people do. I'm as a snobby person myself. But at a certain point, you have to go like, this is incredibly unsubtle. But I mean, the man has an arc and a theme that he's trying to hit at the end of the movie, and he's gonna make it very obvious, and he hits it at the end. So like, as a writer, like he's not a bad writer. I feel like he makes very good like cohesive character arcs. Like
I wonder if like
Visit,
his problem.
in The Visit, for example, hold on, I'll let you go in a second. Like, the characters talk about these phobias that they have, and then when the shit hits the fan near the end of the movie, both of the characters have to, like, face their phobias. Like, the girl doesn't like the way she looks, and the climax of her story is, like, the grandma holding her face up to a mirror and making her look at herself, and the kid is germophobic, and the grandpa literally rubs shit in the kid's face. So, it's stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that, bro?
Yeah.
I wonder if like he has. I wonder what his like writing room is like, because it sounds like to me he does a really good outline. It's just when it comes down to like the actual like small nitty gritty connective tissue, it doesn't always connect together in the best way.
Yeah, I'd agree. I bet the writing room is very him centric.
Yeah.
Now, Old is based off of a comic book. The comic book ends pretty bleakly, and this ends differently, but I'm not going to say if it's less or more bleak. The twist here is there's definitely an M. Night Shyamalan twist in this, right? I just don't think it's as impressive as some of his other M. Night Shyamalan twists. Do you want to guess?
Is that a bad thing?
I mean, I kind of want a dumb twist from M. Night Shyamalan, to be honest.
Okay.
And I like this twist. Don't get me wrong. It's just a little muted. Joe, do you want to guess?
Is it either there is no twist, or they drink a thing at the beginning of their time there, and it's actually a secret government potion that ages them very quickly?
So you're like 30% right. They do drink a thing, but it's not why they're getting old, but they drink an important thing. Bradley and Tyler, do y'all want to take a guess?
They're playing real life Eternal Return.
Okay, cool.
My guess is they are all in a cult and they drank something and they all just fell asleep at the beach.
All right. Let me move on.
But their cult leader was actually what's the sedan guys?
Mid-sized sedan.
Mid-sized sedan doesn't exist. That's the twist.
Wait.
Like they're all on the beach except for mid-sized sedan.
Wait,
they drove there
Shut
in
up.
a mid-sized
Shut up.
sedan.
Okay, I regret this. Go, Brad.
Bradley.
I gotta change my guess. The guess is that time is flowing normally, but their brains are slowed down, so they think they're aging fast.
Bradley, there's some circumstances where that's a very good plot point.
I know.
Not in this circumstance. Okay.
I have a thing. We should next time take a Tyler hot theory or hot twist and turn that into some sort of short story.
Ooh, that feels
You
like
know what?
write any good. Take note of bad Tyler takes, and then we'll work on that next time.
Yeah.
That sounds like a fun drunk night. We get 2 pages, and you have to incorporate whatever Tyler says. Go.
We make the greatest narrative ever told. Very briefly, I watched a movie called A Beautiful Boy. It stars, oh my God, Jim Carell. That's the Office guy, right?
Oh, Steve Carell. There you go.
Yes. Jim Carell. And then it stars him and Timothy Chalamet, the pretty boy with the angular face who's going to be in Dune. This movie is okay. It's a story about a son who is addicted to drugs, particularly crystal meth and eventually heroin.
What's up?
Shout out to Breaking Bad, I guess.
Yo.
And his dad is trying to figure out how he can save his son. And the things this movie does well are kind of the cycle that addicts, I think, will put people around them through. Where it's just a cycle of like, I'm getting better, and then like I genuinely was better for a long time, and then I relapse really hard, and then I'm just relapsing over and over and over. And Timothy is very good in this movie when he's interacting specifically with his step siblings. I feel like he comes off as like a really charming, sympathetic character. Where this movie kind of falters, I think, is actually Steve Carell. He's just okay, if I'm being generous, at the role. It's like you don't. It's a very dramatic movie. There's very little humor, and I would like Steve Carell to get out of like. You don't want an artist to feel enclosed. Like you want them to have chances to do things that they weren't typecasted for. Like he can't always be the comedy guy, and I feel like he wanted to try some heavy drama for once, and I just don't think he's quite there to carry like a movie like this.
Steve Carell also was in a movie called Welcome to Marwa something. It's about him being a photographer of these like doll play. Like he makes these like doll dioramas, takes pictures of them, and he has an art like showing of them. And he's like, but he's like mentally unstable, and he can't form relationships and stuff like that. And it's a really weird concept, and he tries to play it seriously, but it doesn't come off well. Like it's Steve Carell. It's hard to like, you know.
I gave him the full benefit of the doubt here.
Yeah, no, I did too during this. Yeah. It was just like, you know, it didn't sell as well as it could have, I think. But
cool. And then lastly, I beat Neo, The World Ends With You. Now, Bradley's also been playing this.
Yes, and I'm on week 3, day 5 or 6.
Ooh, so you're almost there.
Yeah, I'm almost there. It is phenomenal.
I really like this game. This is a really good game. I'm going to be brief because maybe I'll wait till Bradley beats it next podcast, and maybe we'll talk about it again. I think me and Bradley both agree that the combat is just aces in this game. And so are the subsystems. It's just really fun to build up your party and get your collections and all that.
God, both the first game and this game just astounded me with, like, it just makes me wonder what combat systems are going to be invented in the future, because these two games just have unique combat systems.
Square Enix, like B teams, make the coolest combat systems.
You get a lot of freedom when you don't have to deal with licensing issues.
I also like I challenged Bradley to a versus on the time trial, which I'm getting ready now. I'm about to go do it for the first try, but it's just fun.
I'm excited for that.
The bosses in this game are actually quite good when you stop them. Yeah. Like they each have individual mechanics and patterns that are like you can fall into a habit of mashing really hard in this game, But like when you really stop and strategize, this game is like phenomenal. And
Yeah,
I
that's
think
the thing.
I don't know if you've unlocked ultimate difficulty yet, but when that gets unlocked, like you really have to step back and respect every enemy's unique thing, including like the mobs. The highest tier mobs all have like a gimmick that you need to be watching out for.
Yeah, and what I love is that, you can't just mash through it, because I grinded very, very hard the first week of the game.
Yeah.
And even now on week 3, I'm like 25 levels higher than the recommended level for everything. But if I just try to mash through things and just use brute force, I'll still lose.
Yeah.
Now, if I actually do pay attention to the mechanics of the enemies, I fucking stomp them because I'm over leveled. But you do actually have to,
Think about it.
think about it and figure out the enemies.
Did you do that day that focuses on Shoka and Ayano?
Yeah.
That boss is really cool because there's that. First of all, like it has the spinning blades around it, so you can't get close. It has the poison rain, so you have to stand at certain spots of the stage. But then there's the gimmick where like she starts locking your party members, and you only,
my God.
you can only use I think Shoka and Rindo to break them all free, and then you like
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just such a fun gimmick, and every boss has stuff like that.
Yeah, every single boss has had at least one mechanic where I'm like, what a cool fucking gimmick.
And the super versions of them are fucked up. There's some hard bosses.
Girl.
I gave the ultra boss a try. I got immediately obliterated.
shit.
Anyways,
I was going to ask,
Yes,
like, how long do you think the game is,
the
Willard?
game is 40 hours, and that's my main complaint. It's too long.
It's
It
too
is-
long?
I think it's too long.
There are some days in the game where it kind of felt like they were padding out a day that could have been 5 minutes.
Because I was
Also,
going to say a 40-hour game, like, sounds like a good length for, like, an RPG.
it is, but it's definitely padded. Like
Okay, that makes sense.
I like 40-hour RPGs, but this is a long 40-hour RPG.
Now, at the same time, as like padded out as some of the days can feel, I kind of still enjoy all my time. Number one,
Yeah.
because I usually hate farming in RPGs.
Oh,
This
it's so
combat
fun.
system is fun enough that I'll just farm and not do the story. It's
Plus,
just fun to fight.
It gives you such comprehensive checklist of have you eaten every food, have you bought every clothes, have you gotten every single difficulty of every enemy like in your little compendium. So it's just fun to knock that stuff out.
And then even if I get stuck in a day for longer than I bargained for, every single character, including the NPCs, is charming enough that I kind of don't care. I love every bit of dialogue in this game.
Yeah, the other two things I want to bring up is I love the characters. They really carry the story. However, and I don't want to say too much because I don't really want to color Bradley's expectations.
Yeah.
I felt like the story was building up to something, and while the climax days are like very different narratively, it doesn't quite pop off like The World Ends With You 1 does. And also, The World Ends With You 1 is better paced, where like you have a new game master every week, a new party member every week, and like it has a better cycle. While this game backloads all the character development and plot into week 3, and I'm like, they should have probably spread that out a little more.
That was a big thing about World Ends With You. Like, it's been several years since I played, but I distinctly remember, like, it really invoked the feeling of, like, feeling, like, unfairly stuck in this system, but kind of understanding
they
why.
They hit that really well in this game, but, like, it just hits different when, like, you have to play the second week to save Shiki, and then Joshua sacrifices himself for you to play the third week, and then the third week you're with Beat, who was a rival, who's now your party member, and like it just has this cool flow where this game is not quite that way.
And it feels like talking about World Ends With You, like the whole message of the World Ends With You with the character is him coming to a realization that like he's not the most important person in the world, and he shouldn't think of himself like that way. He needs to understand what everyone else in the world is and what their needs are and what they want to do. Because it comes out to be the world begins with you rather than the world ends with you.
Which is I really like Neku's development. I'm very keen to see what Bradley thinks of Rindo's development by the end of the story.
And so it makes sense
Joe,
in like that.
You should check this out if it goes on sale or so. It's just so fun to play. It's a blast.
I told Bradley this, like, I'm going to hold off with them playing it next year because I have so many other games on my playlist.
Yeah.
I definitely want to play this game.
Yeah.
It's just like I have other things on my playlist that I want to play through and get through and beat.
I 69 hours in right now. I just checked. That's on the dot because I've been doing so much post game stuff. Which is, it's kind of addicting to throw on like a podcast or a YouTube video and like run through the post game in this game.
Yeah, like I'll just kill enemies while I listen to YouTube video.
And post game's good. Like it's like you got plenty of challenges.
Yeah, you got plenty of challenges. You got plenty of stuff to collect. You have a platinum trophy that is like the right amount of effort put in. It's not asking me to do anything too. Like I already have all the pins except for like 15, so I'm clearing out those last 15.
Yeah. The post game in the first game was already incredible, and it seems like this is just going to be better.
I remember having to fight Joshua and getting like just really into fighting that guy at the end. I was like, I'm going to fucking beat you. And like, yeah. Good news.
And finally, I brought this up. The last boss of this game is super cool. I think if I showed it to Tyler, he would get very angry at just how much is like
on screen.
How much game design rules I feel like that boss breaks versus the amount of enjoyment I get out of it is like a weird scale. Like,
I can already hear Wheeler going as Tyler like sees to the side.
Yeah, it's a good time. Okay.
Anyways,
that became a real topic. Let's talk about. You know what? Let's switch it up a little bit. Let's do Konosuba Fantastic Days.
Fuck.
It's weird that Bradley plays this. I wasn't like, is that a thing?
Yeah. Yeah, I do play it. I've only watched like a few episodes of Konosuba, and I think Konosuba has. I do think it has like very fantastic character designs that obviously resonate with a lot of people, including me, even though I don't watch the show. But I don't know. I've just been in the mood to roll for waifus because I play a lot of Genshin, and Tyler and Austin were talking about it. I was like, fuck it, I'll just download it to roll and see who I get. But man, this is just a quality mobile game. I was just impressed.
Gachas are good. Actual controversial take. I think gachas are a good genre generally.
They're exciting.
It's been fun doing like the team building and stuff in it. I think this game is fine. I think it's really generous.
The combat looked a little on the weaker side.
It's an autoplay. It's an AFK arena. Like you just build out your team and let it autoplay.
Well, with these games, even the ones with autoplay, whenever you're doing the hard bosses, the expectation is like you need to sit down and play. Like in Pokemon Masters, I autoplay a lot of the time, but when I'm doing the hard shit, I have to like sit down and really pay attention.
Oh yeah.
I didn't really have to sit down and pay attention.
You're the one who said you never autoplayed. This is such a lie.
That's in Masters.
Tyler's gaslighting Wheeler.
Sit down and pay attention.
I'm so sorry.
In this game, I didn't have to sit down and pay attention like ever.
Okay.
It was relatively easy. It was fun. The game was really generous with its materials. Like, I just got like half of the currency needed to roll, like earlier today. Like, it was a little ridiculous, actually. Yeah, it's just a fun little Konosuba game, you know? Like, I don't have anything else to say other than that. I said I would do it during a quick talk, but
I think the most interesting thing to me is that Konosuba kind of only has like a dozen characters. Yeah. So basically they gave every character like 5 or 6 outfits, and like, oh, the 5 stars this outfit and the 2 stars this outfit.
Yeah, so they do have different outfits for the characters, and there's only like 19 characters. So they pull characters from the Konosuba manga into it.
So all those characters you told me were made up, are they all actually manga characters, maybe?
Oh, that's the thing. No, there are some manga characters, and then there are some there are manga characters, and then there's made up characters. So they have like 4 or 5 made up characters for the video game, and then they have the entire story for the anime in the video game, and an entirely new plot for the video game.
Now, you show me that. The story in the video game is like in-engine cutscenes, so it's like a super watered down, like they don't have clips or anything. It's like
I want to point out that Tyler only watches the anime Konosuba story in that game and not the original story.
No. I started watching the other story too.
Okay.
So that was a thing though at a point. That's true.
Yeah.
It's great because one of the new characters is actually from Japan too, and she had a concussion. And so she didn't remember that she was from Japan until she gets another concussion. And then her and Kazuma kind of have like, a common interest.
Has Cosmo gotten laid?
No.
Why?
Not. He's in an anime. Are you serious?
Yeah, he's in an anime.
The main protag can't get laid because that ruins shipping. Bradley, you should know these things. Unless it's you do what we never learned the manga does, where they have like 5 alternate endings, and then you can just pick whichever one you like as your canon one.
You know what? Character getting laid doesn't stop the worm fan base, so those freaks.
What does that mean? I don't know.
Oh man, I've seen some shit.
All I know is Clock Blocker Taylor is the true shit.
That is the true one.
Yo, Clock Blocker Taylor.
Anywho, let's slide into the other waifu game, the one that's less generous with the materials. Yo, what's going on? Because Genshin seems to be popping off right now.
It's off the fucking chain!
Bradley's having a good fucking time.
Oh my god, y'all, this latest... So I was sending them statistics on this latest banner today.
Jesus.
Because this latest banner, like, set a new record for Genshin for the most money spent on a banner. And, like, to put it into perspective how, like, well this game is doing, it is the fastest game in history to profit $1 billion. And like
so much, it's a money printing machine, this game. It's
Yeah.
a whole economy, this fucking game.
And like if you view a chart of like money spent on the game like per day, it's mostly like a flat line, then there will be like a small spike whenever a banner goes up, and this latest banner was just like
Yeah,
like
even I think the new character looks fucking dope, and I've been a little iffy on some designs. I logged on to play some Genshin. I was like, man, it's just so nice to explore that.
Whoa, Willer got on Genshin?
Yeah, I've been playing some Genshin on my PS5.
Yeah, no. This latest character is so fucking cool. Like, so this the latest character is like the god of the new region or whatever. And so far each of the regions the god is playable. And the first 2 gods, they're cool. They're very, very strong. But they're just characters. This character makes me feel like I am playing as a god. It is so cool. I love it. That's all.
I will mention, I won't belabor the point because we've talked about it personally on Discord, but like, man, Genshin is so strict with like giving you rewards just for logging in. Like most gachas, you'll get at least some stuff for logging in every day, or logging in during an event, you'll get enough for a multi-pull or like a multi-roll or whatever you want to call it in that particular one. In Genshin, you log in and it's like you're right back where you left off. Have fun. Like you do get like, just by doing a bunch of shit, you get like 2 Primo Gems. Like you get like a bunch of small amounts of Primo Gem just for playing the admittedly very fun game. So I think that's how they like justify it to the fan base. But when you're making billions of dollars, like, come on, man, just let me do a 10 roll when you do a new banner.
Like, just kind of playing the game, you do rack up small amounts. Like, oh, open this chest, 5 Prima Gems. Oh, kill this group of enemies, 2 Prima Gems. But MiHoYo, which I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry. They are kind of under blast right now on both like American Twitter and also Chinese Twitter. I've seen on the subreddit. I
feel like that's who they would. If Chinese Twitter is mad, they might actually make a difference.
People are kind of fed up with the dumbass rewards that they give you. Because, like, for example, like the Amazon Twitch Prime rewards, your monthly reward is an amount of in-game money that probably takes like 30 seconds to earn in-game doing normal stuff. Like, it is nothing. It's nothing. It is so like it's nothing. It basically might not even be a reward. That's how little it is. And so the anniversary event, 1 year anniversary, everyone's like, oh, they're going to show all these players how much they appreciate us for making this like pretty much the most financially successful game in the past year. You are going to get a 10 pull. Just one.
Wait, we get a 10 pull?
A 10 pull.
This is the best they've ever done.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. It is the biggest reward they've ever given is a single 10 pull.
No, the thing that's killer is like you save up for this 10 pull and you'll get 1 to 2 new characters. It's like, god damn it, I it's been 6 months since I played and all I get is a duplicate Barbara for my it's so frustrating.
And what's the one that's really fucking killing people is they set up a bunch of community rewards where you can earn rewards in game by doing stuff in the online Genshin community, like drawing fan art or just referring friends and stuff like that. So if you draw a Genshin fan art and like you use the proper hashtags and enough people like it, you will get 100 Primo Gems in game.
That is 1/16 of a multi.
It's not even a single pull. Doing 2 days of daily quests gives you more than that.
You're telling me you spend all this time advertising the game with badass art and you get 1/16 of a multi.
Yeah, so they're one of the richest studios in the world right now. They're asking people to do free advertising for them. And these artists are like, why can't I just do like a commission for someone for $75 and spend that on Primo Gems instead? Fucking assholes.
The greed knows no bounds in MiHoYo Studios.
Now, I've been very angry for the past 3 minutes. That being said, this is like my favorite fucking game. I'm going to keep playing it.
And this will be this year's Game of the Year with the 2.0. And surprisingly, Bradley let it go at like 20 last time. So we'll see if he's this
Dude, 2.0 is insane. Not only... They've been adding so fucking much to this game. First, they added like... Several months ago, they added the housing system, which is basically a level editor, which is fucking badass.
That's cool.
Then they added Wind Waker to the game. Then they finally added fishing, which was like in every video game that has a fishing minigame, it's like my favorite thing to do. So I've been enjoying that.
Fishing is good. It's not the best, but it's good. It's a good
dude,
level of fishing.
The level design of the open world has to have peaked with this new region. The levels or like the puzzles in the world are so insane.
God damn you, Bradley Kern.
And also,
you're gonna get me to open this game again because I fucking love the level design in this game.
I'm the only person in the world who pays attention to the story.
Yeah.
The story in the first region, I do not blame anybody at all for skipping the dialogue. I read it all just because I like this game, but the first region is just it's a very basic fantasy story. Second region, off the fucking chain. Love that story. Extremely cool and unique. Great plot twists. Yeah. And man, the story in this latest region, it's less like convoluted than the Geo region story was, but I think it just raises some really cool like moral dilemmas and thought experiments about how to like rule a nation. And I don't know.
Genshin good after all.
Oh man, fantastic game, but the way I phrased it in Discord the other day was like, this game is so good, but it could be so much better if the company was just like a little bit nicer.
I just think the greed is off the chain here.
Yeah, but
speaking of greedy free-to-play games, Pokemon Unite has a very cool update coming tomorrow. The mobile version's coming out, and I don't know. They're adding some things that are really cool, such as a mode in which your item levels don't matter, which is super cool.
That's
thank God.
They're adding a lot more ways to get item enhancers, and a new item called a super item enhancer that will instantly level an item to 30 from the way they've mentioned it.
Yeah, but how do you get that? Do you
events. You just
pay like $10 for it?
No, you play the event. Also, now that the mobile version is going to come out, there's going to be more overlapping events. There's cooler costumes for the players and the Pokemon. 2 Pokemon are coming out tomorrow. There's a new balance patch in which they did some very questionable nerfs. Like, Wigglytuff and Lucario were fucking busted. Lucario got nerfed pretty fairly. Wigglytuff's nerf is like maybe too great. Here, let me break this down for y'all. Y'all know Wigglytuff has that sing move that puts people to sleep. It's super fucking busted. They called the sleep a bug, and they're like, okay, now if you hit someone who's asleep, they wake up. Bug fix. I'm like, that is not a fucking bug fix. And then they also did it to Snorlax. So it's like, that is not a bug fix. That is a design
That's a nerf.
No, that's just a design change that y'all made in your...
Wait. So
they just made sleep like you can just interrupt it now.
You wake up from sleep if you get hit. Now, sleep was busted. Snorlax's sleep would CC you for 5 seconds, and you were just had to stay
the
there.
yawn, yeah, that's true.
And then Wigglytuff had like an AoE 3-second sleep. Now this is still useful because you can peel for people. Let's not get into too much.
It's still good. It's just it's not full on stun, but you are right, Miller.
I'm worried for the Greninja nerfs because they're nerfing his HP and attack damage, and he's my boy. He's the most fun MOBA character ever made, but I digress. I'm very excited for the 2 new characters. Okay, let's do some Deathloop talk now, Joe. Deathloop came out. This game, first of all, this game has maybe some of the worst advertising in a hot minute. It's not that the trailers were bad. All the trailers were really good.
Just they were everywhere.
It's just that there were so many. It was just so many Deathloop trailers, and people were like, and the thing is, people still didn't get it. I got what the game was. But
same.
A lot of people still did not understand what the game was. So
It's like
I think the trailers were a failure for the layman.
yeah, I think of it as a rogue light, if that makes sense.
A little bit. It's extra light. It's like
because it's basically the concept of Deathloop is there are 2 ways to play, but the main way to play is to play as Colt. And you are stuck on this island that is in a Groundhog's Day scenario, and the only way to get out of it is to kill the 8 visionaries, the 8 rulers of the army.
Every single person on this island loves the loop, except for you.
Oh shit!
You're the only person who wants to break this, so they're like, Colt, fucking stop. This is a good thing that you're ruining.
But another thing is that like it's always the first day that the loop happens, so people like. Colt and the other character are the only 2 people who know that like the loop has actually happened. Everyone is anticipating the loop happening, basically.
Oh, I didn't catch. I thought they got some forms of their memories back.
No, they get nothing back.
Okay, I didn't realize they get nothing back. That's it.
Yeah,
Juliana and Colt are fantastic characters, by the way. They're very endearing, fun characters, and I love how they talk to each other, and I love when she goes, Juliana.
I think this
the
game
voice
for the
acting is ace.
Yeah, it has some of the best voice acting I've ever heard in a video game for those 2 characters.
Yeah.
They have great chemistry to each other.
The hate fuck energy is so.
Have you figured out what the relationship was yet?
I not directly, no.
Okay, cool.
I have some theories.
So, but the point is that you need to kill all 8 of these people. One of them being Juliana.
Oh no, is she his daughter? Oh no, never mind. I take it all back.
Juliana is one of those 8 people. So, but you only have like 4 segments of the day to do that. So you have to kill everyone in one day.
Noon, afternoon, and evening, and then you have 4 different zones, and the characters have a schedule that they're going about throughout the day. So the only way you can feasibly kill them all is if you figure out like the right zone to be, and you do certain side quests that will corral them to get several people into the same zone.
Yeah, I'm at the point now where it's like I need one more person to move a location, and then I can run a loop and kill everybody.
And that's
so.
I will say, the game's that aspect of the game has left me a little dry because I just feel like I'm chasing a bunch of threads, and I'm not really seeing how this is connecting. Maybe at the end, but like you get a lot of missions you have to go and do, and like kind of. You're figuring out a lot about the people that you're hunting down because you start off in this amnesiac and you're kind of remembering everything as you go along. So I don't know.
I have a big complaint, and that is a game did this better 20 years ago, and it was called Majora's Mask.
Yeah.
Because a big part of the game is that, like I say, a roguelite light, because if you die, you lose everything that you have, basically. But you can spend this currency to like keep things rolled over, which is fine. It just once you kind of figure out that, like, oh, I need to do these side quests to get everyone lined up to beat the game, there really isn't an incentive to go after each one individually, you know?
Yeah, I'm just doing quest after quest after
Yeah.
quest until one. And I'm imagining if I keep playing, one day in the future, it's gonna click. It's like, oh, this is when I can finally kill them. I don't feel
Yeah.
like I'm building up a master plan. I'm just chasing threads until the game tells me it's time to go.
Basically, and that's how I feel too. Like it doesn't feel like. I feel like the game is too handholdy because you can definitely like select a thing and go down and just go all down the way for one loop. Like, all right, let's just go to the next thing, and then like you have everything lined up. I wish there was a kind of mode where it's like a notebook mode where you can like pin people at certain locations or make notes down to like add.
I bet at
additional
some
layer.
point, especially with that note board in the base,
Yeah.
I bet these were things they definitely considered and stripped out.
Yeah,
Shit.
well, we'll finish up Deathloop and then we'll change.
Yeah.
But so like that's my big complaint is that like I feel like the game is very handholdy. It guides you a lot to where you need to go, and that can be good or bad. Now there's a lot of additional side content, like you can get like unlock secret guns and find other things to upgrade your stuff. And I think like, okay, that's really cool. It's there. But like the difference is that like in Majora's Mask, it felt like you really needed to go down all those side quests to get a better understanding of like
How to control the
concept.
situation and
Yeah. And it felt more rewarding when you're able to line all those things up because they were naturally happening rather than being very segmented.
Because the way this plays out, you're just doing a bunch of quests and these maps that are very well designed, but there's only 4 of them, and you're going to be going down them a lot.
Yeah.
So they lose their luster. Now the other part of this game is you can play as Juliana, and basically that is one of the 8 people you have to kill, but a person is controlling her and hunting you down, and that is super fun. I killed Joe multiple times, and he never addressed it. I think he was salty.
I was trying to just scout a location. You kept killing me. I was like, all right. The thing about that is that it's just very much a gimmick of the game. It doesn't have any more depth to it.
That's not true. There's like have you played as Juliana? There's like a whole
Not
suite
really, but like from what I've seen, like it just seems like you get more loadouts and that's it.
There's like a whole suite of how to customize her and like a whole meta.
Yeah, but like
a whole meta, I'm sure, of like using these kinds of guns because people are using this kind of slag power.
Right.
I feel like there's depth there.
But like the same time, like there's if you went through the whole game and didn't play as Juliana, you also wouldn't be missing out on much.
Yeah, fair.
That's kind of and I'm not saying it's a bad gimmick. I think it's a great idea. I'm really glad it's in the game. I think it's a really cool. It's very much like the Death Stranding thing. It's a really cool like other form of like multiplayer engagement because I think it's really cool that you can invade a person's single player game and you have the option to turn that off.
Yeah,
which is also really nice.
Unfortunately, though, because I have mine set to friends already, just because I was like, when I'm playing this game, I'm paying half attention and like just following these threads.
Same.
I think the gunplay is pretty good.
Gunplay is great. It's very Dishonored. Prey, which I love those games. So like I'll buy an arcade game if they're like it's made by Dishonored. People are like good, sold, bought it, done. Don't talk to me anymore about this game. I'm good. Kind of deal. I think there's one thing that I would have liked, and maybe there's like a new game plus mode that will change this. But I think a better way to do the game is that your lives carried over between each section of the day. Does that make sense?
Oh, they don't, do they?
No.
Yeah, you're right.
So because it feels more intense that way, it makes you go like, I need to conserve, like I don't want to like waste going to another place when I know I have to go scout this mission or go try to kill this guy for the first time kind of deal.
Yeah, I agree. Last thing I wanted to bring up, actually, you go.
That's basically it. It's just like I kind of wish it was a little bit harder.
The last thing I wanted to bring up, that's a good way to put it. What slags are you running?
I'm using the teleportation one always. That thing never leaves. The secondary one, I've kind of primarily done the Nexus one.
That one's weird. It links enemies and lets you like kill them. That one's cool.
That one's very good. You can upgrade to have it hit 3 or 4.
I think I stumbled into the 2 best ones right off the gate, and I can't ever see like not using them.
Is it the Enrage?
One's the invisibility one, where you get to turn invisible. That has so many applications. Like even like looking through a window and tagging people so you can like see them through the walls. That you can just use it to turn invisible and look through the window without them seeing you.
I found a gun that's a silence gun. If you shoot it, it just pins everyone that's in the room.
Oh, I thought you had to hit them.
You just if you shoot.
Mine's not silenced though. It's a big fucking hand cannon. So that's
No, mine's a little nail silencer. You can shoot it and hit a wall, and it'll spread and hit everybody.
The other one is that was the second one I got. The first one I got, I feel like this is busted. I feel like they didn't think this one through. Mm-hmm. It is called Havoc, I think. It's the red one that gives you boosted attack and defense.
It's the one you get from Fia, right? The artist girl?
Yes. Which, by the way, there's so many fucking bugs in this game. She was bugged when I went to kill her, and
one of them I walked in, they died immediately as soon as I loaded into the game. I was like, okay. I turned around and left.
Stray bullet hit him. So with Havoc, someone sees you, you just turn it on and walk up to them and stab them. And, like, you take no damage, but the worst part is, from the party guy, who I think gives you the invisibility.
Alexis, yeah.
His weapon is a gun. It's a machine pistol that restores your health. It's got health steal.
What the fuck?
You turn that on with Havoc, and you are unkillable. And, like, you just have to manage, like, you go out, you become invincible, you get your health back, you go in a corner, you wait for your bar to refill, you go out. It is so busted. I'm not even afraid of a Juliana walking up to me unless she has the same combo. Because I'm just
that explains a lot when like I would shoot them like you're literally not taking. I found a gun. That is.
I was spamming that to kill you. It was so busted.
It's just like I got a pistol that's really cool. It's whenever it hits something, it leaves a toxin cloud.
Yeah, there's some cool like weapon mods.
Which is really cool because one, that does damage over time, but two, if they try to shoot you back, it explodes.
Oh.
Yeah, so the cloud, so you just basically like, you don't even have to hit them, you just have to surround them, and then if they try to shoot you back, they just explode and die.
All I know is I'm never taking Havoc off, and I'm never taking that machine pistol off, and I feel like I have already beaten the game just by happenstance.
I think that's the biggest complaint. The game is too easy.
Yeah.
Like, there needs to be another way that isn't a player coming in and invading you, because that's a huge difficulty spike, or it's nothing at all.
It is like night and day. It is.
Yeah.
Because as soon as a Juliana spawns, you get in a corner and you're like, oh, fuck, oh, shit.
Or worse off, when you're in the middle of trying to kill them and they immediately show up. And like, that's great. It's a great moment, like, emergent gameplay scenario.
Yeah.
It's just like... I want also, if I'm playing single player, there is some sort of challenge to it, because right now it doesn't feel that way.
Agreed. All right, let's take a quick break as we refresh our guns.
Oh, yes. We're going.
What do we got? We got Joe Anime Weeb Game Hour.
Tales of Symphonia.
Oh,
yes. I always start off with this. So I played 2 action JRPG games. I say play. One of them I have decided I'm not going to finish after playing halfway through. The other one I am very excited to keep playing. So I picked up Scarlett Nexus for like $20, and I was like, it's $20. It's supposed to be like Xbox's big foray into JRPGs, and now it's on PlayStation. I want to give this a shot. Man. Talk about a story I don't give a shit about.
Damn.
It
Xbox
does not
blasted.
try to make you give a shit. And like, so like the concept of the game is that you live in a post-apocalyptic thing where the ozone layer has gotten so corrupted it produces monsters that come down and rain on you and attack you.
Oh yeah, Florida.
And they all have like mannequin legs and shit, and their brains are like light bulbs. I think a big thing about this game is that like it's too big concept, so like all your characters get like really watered down and lost. You get like 2 character choices at the beginning of the game. You can play the boy who's a sword man, and you can play the girl that's like a long range like knife thrower kind of lady. They both have
that's way more interesting.
Yeah, they both have the same exact like psychic power, so that immediately is just like, oh, so really it's just between range and like melee. But the concept idea is basically you're a bunch of teenagers, of course, that get plugged into this neural network that unlocks psychic abilities for you. And you join up with a team, And with that team, you can like relay abilities to each other. So like you can have the guy that has the shock psychic ability, and then you can like connect to him, and you get his shock ability. You can use it in tandem with your psychic ability.
Hey, yeah, how's the combat here?
Combat actually really fun.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed the combat. It feels pretty strategic, I would say. Like you are going around. You're like the best one was. There's a monster that will fog up the whole area, so you need to maintain. You have to use a lady that can can see through walls to find them, and when you do find them, you have to like kill them quickly, or they'll fog up the area again. You can't see. Like it turns off like your HUD basically entirely. And it's like, okay, cool. You got like status effects going on here. You got like combo abilities. I can use the water guy to make someone wet, then switch over to electricity to shock them. That'll stun them, and then you can start comboing off of them. The combat is really, really fun. I really enjoyed the combat. The problem comes
if I see this on sale for $17, should I?
If you see this and see it for sale for $15, I would say maybe pick it up to give it a little shot.
Okay, go on.
But everything else around it just is poorly thought out, doesn't feel fleshed out, feels very tacked on. It would have been much better if it was like a Devil May Cry scenario where it's like you beat a level, you move on to the next thing, don't worry about it. But it tries to do a Persona type thing where you have to level up relationships with each of the different kind of crew members.
Fucking sucker for Persona shit.
Yeah, and they don't like establish like when you're in between palaces really, because like that kind of was the fun about Persona, was that you understood when you're between palaces.
What you're saying is like you go on and off missions, but you have like a nebulous zone in which you're doing friendship simulator stuff.
Yeah, and you're never really
that split of like mission time, lifetime.
Yeah, and I think the other thing about Persona is that like there's an efficient way to get everyone's like level up. And some of them are barred by certain events, but the game gives you a good idea of like you can't progress this person's like social status up higher until something happens, if I remember correctly.
Do you have any semblance for how long this story is? Because this feels like a game I'd get to play and have fun with the mechanics, but not maybe care about the plot.
Yeah, like it's supposedly really short. I would say it's about 40 hours, but it might be 40 hours per side because there's a whole different
story. 40's not really short. 40's pretty mid.
Yeah, but like that's why I say that, because it's like there's a whole other side. Like the male protagonist has his own campaign that he goes on, has his own separate missions.
I'll do without. Tell me about the good game instead.
So the other thing about that game is that like all the characters you get introduced to are very bland. Everyone looks exactly the same, and like it's just like I don't know who this person is. Tales on the Rise, however, has great style. It's very much it's a great style. They do a very Star Wars-esque epilogue opening that gets you like established in what the world is, so you know what the fuck is happening. And it's character focused. It's not plot focused. The plot of this game is that there are two worlds. One of the worlds is in the medieval era, and the other world is in space Japan sci-fi era. So space Japan invades the medieval world.
Well, that seems like a done deal.
Yeah, and enslaves the entire population for 300 years. And what you turn out is that this world produces a power called astral energy that's used to power all the technology on the other world. But it's not just the rocks and the trees that have it, it's the actual people. And the way you get that is making them produce literal slave work and like giving them these like crystals jammed into their bodies to like basically the heat that they produces this astral energy. Yeah.
How dark is this? Because so I've played I've played some Tales of Vesperia. That's a game I like, and one day when I'm completely out of games to play, I will go and beat that game. That's a very lighter game. Is this more like Burst Area, where like apparently it's like a lot darker? This feels pretty dark.
I think it does I would say visually it's not dark, but I think they touch on some dark themes. Like the slave labor, like immediately is just like I am going to make sure I get literally every piece of your life, literally, because as you work to like in this mine, I get more energy to. Bradley spilled the chili bowl in the office.
Yikes.
But he so it does have a little bit of darkness, but it's also very humor. It's got like that anime classic kind of cartoony, but they don't look like children, they look like adults, which I really, really like.
Yeah, this seems. Well, I'm guessing this is like an older teen cast, like they're in their 19s.
No, they're like in their 20s. Like,
all right, that's bold for Japanese standards, I suppose.
But I think the game is really good, and like the characters, like so far, nothing incredibly impressive, but it's enough to get me attached to kind of like have some sort of connection with these characters. Which Scarlet Nexus, which I played before this, was really, really lacking. There didn't feel like an actual organic or very fun chemistry between the cast, and I think that's something you really need. And you're going around, you're building up your little merry pirate band or revolutionaries as you go, and you
You can't just use the P word and not mean it.
But like it's very One Piecey, where like you go to each location and you get a new party member, and like
you mean a JRPG?
yeah, basically. What's his name? Tanjiro is in this game. Like one of the characters looks one for one like the dude. Nice. The regular fights in this game are fun. They're not the hardest, like, but it's fun to like experiment, do combos, and try to figure out what works. The bosses in this game are fucking ridiculous. Like they're Kingdom Hearts level shit. Okay. Like there's this guy.
You better fucking mean it.
Like there are literal DPS checks in this game where if you do not deal enough damage to this guy with your combos, he will straight out kill you.
Okay.
Like you have to like, and then they have different, like there's a guy that's an illusionist, and like he has his illusions give him power and will attack you. So in order to attack him, you have to defeat all of his illusions, and he gets less and less power as you do more illusions. The bosses also have like, if you do certain combos, it will trigger a cutscene event that will deal more damage to them. But you have to like figure out what
you haven't played too much Yakuza, but like in Yakuza where you get the quick time events like mid fight.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. You won't get the quick time. You won't get the quick time events, but like if you study the movements, like the first boss, for example, every character has like what's called a boost move. It's like a support move that does something additional. So, for example, the female character Shion, her move is that she fires like a bunch of barrage beams, which causes enemies to immediately fall to the ground if they're in the air. So the first boss you fight, he does this big jump attack move that does a lot of damage. But if you get your boost move up and you hit the button, you'll trigger an event that will cause him to get stunned and allow you to like.
And will it get a unique animation and stuff?
It does a unique animation and stuff too. So it makes you feel like, oh, this is just, it feels like really paid off. And that boost attack isn't like an instantaneous thing. You have to build it up by doing combos. So it really like makes you think about like, how do I effectively like do all my moves? And then every character themselves are just have their own whole mechanics. Like Shion is a gun, and her whole thing is that she throws out bombs. So you need to know, when do you need to throw out a quick bomb? When do you need to throw out a slow bomb that you'll aim and shoot? Main character boy with the big sword. Rinwell, who I like to play as a mage, and her whole mechanic is you have to charge up spells, and then you can combo other spells and then release the charged up spells. So you end up like charging up like a water attack 3 times, do an auto attack, spell, and then on that second spell you release the water, so it ends up doing like a whole bunch of damage and CCing things, and like it gives you a lot of opportunities to explore what you can do.
When I played Tales of Vesperia, the movement felt a little clunky. Would you say that like this is clunky feeling?
Yeah, I'd say it's clunky. I'm back. I spilled my Chipotle bowl. That was not a good experience. Would not recommend it.
Did you lose a lot of food?
I'd already eaten like half of it, so could be worse.
That's half of a bowl. I'm so sorry.
I know, and I got double chicken.
Oh, fuck! I'd be upset.
But on the bright side, it is like the best temperature of the year outside right now.
Oh, good.
Like I can't tell where my skin ends and the air begins. It's such a nice temperature.
That is so separate to the Chipotle bowl situation.
Well, I had to take the trash outside.
Good place, it seems.
Yeah.
Anyways, Joe, go on. Clunky movement? Yes, no?
Yes, no?
I wouldn't say it's the most fluid movement, but like if you are trying to mid combo and the enemy is going to attack, it's going to punish you hard. I would say like you can't just
I think it depends on the character you're playing as well. Like Ridwell is very stiff because she's a mage, right? But the main character, he has a sword, so he moves around a lot quicker and has much better movement. Does that make sense?
Yeah. This is something I would consider picking up on sale as well. But I've also wanted to check out Berseria, so I don't know which
Berseria is the other one. What's funny is that like I bought Berseria, I think it was like a turn-based JRPG, and I got into it, was like, oh, it's a whole combo-based system.
Yeah.
I don't have a controller to play this on right now.
These games are all about doing big combo.
Yeah, I'll get back to it eventually because I hear it's very good. But no, I really like this game. The reason why I didn't jump on the Neo is because I wanted to play these two other games, so there was something else to talk about in Game of the Year and Midcast chat, and like no one else in our group was playing it, and I was like, I played the demo. I played the demo for 6 hours. I was having so much fun. Like, and to me, I was like, that's sold. Like, I played the game 6 times and I enjoyed it. I think I want to buy this game.
Hey, wait, Bradley. How come you're not like balls deep into Deltarune right now?
Well, it released this weekend when Emily was visiting, and then
I thought it was yesterday. You haven't beat it yet? It's been one whole day.
But yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot going on. I want to be balls deep in it though. Deltarune 1 just really, really impressed me. I think I liked it more than most people who played it.
I have it downloaded. For some reason in my mind, I feel like Toby's fallen off, and I haven't even played the game. It's so unfair. Something about me just feel like I'm like, can he do it twice? Because like,
no, like
Undertale was so on the borderline of being too cringy.
It's like that's the thing is I think a lot of people went into Deltarune wanting it to just be like they wanted lightning to strike twice. Like, oh, this has to be as good as Undertale, and
that's not fair.
I enjoy it better. It's not nearly as, I guess, unique as Undertale is.
Unique. Undertale was a very interesting situation.
Yeah. I just love Deltarune because I think, and y'all, man, I was fucking an Undertale hound for so long. But
that was my favorite game for a while.
Oh yeah, but even at my peak enjoyment, like I think a very fair criticism is like Undertale characters aren't they're very fun and enjoyable and you like to be with them, but you're not going to have any like super insanely complex character arcs or anything.
I think Sans and Metatron are quite compelling.
Yeah, like I don't know. A lot of the characters just kind of have like their joke they do. I don't know. Yeah. The characters in Deltarune, I was just so in love with some of these characters.
I think what's been keeping me from like jumping in is the fear of like getting sick of his humor. But if the character writing is as good as you say, and Bradley has a very good eye for character.
And there is like, I mean, it does still have Toby Fox's humor in it, but it kind of manifests in a different way. Because, for example, a lot of Undertale's humor was like Sans and Papyrus, and so I don't know, you're not going to get the whoopee cushion in the hand joke if that's your thing. I don't know, but two of these characters, I just loved watching how they change despite their own insistence that they're not actually changing. And oh man, I'm in love.
So stay tuned for Deltarune Chapter 2 discussions.
Yes.
Joe, Deltarune interlude aside, was there anything else you wanted to bring up about Tales?
One of the characters in Tales has a teacher's outfit that I think Willer would really like.
Oh, damn.
Noted. Noted. All right. Hey, Tyler,
I highly recommend Tales. I don't know if it's worth $60. I kind of just went in and was like, I'm going to just bite the bullet for $60 on this. I think it'd be a much better game at $40, I think, for y'all. But if you like those types of games, I think it's 100% worth it. It's the best game they've ever made, according to the Tales fans, critics, and everything. So
this is the last game we're talking about. So I actually forgot to bring up a very small thing from Quick Talk. It's just an update of me and the Great Ace Attorney.
Oh yeah.
Because me and Joe have been playing that. I'm currently on the 4th case of the second game. I'm actually about to finish it. So I'm about to start the final case. I have very good things to say about this game, but I'll save them.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Willer. I think me and him agree with Willer's theory that they just keep getting better after each one. And I don't know what all of y'all are smoking, but
at least this one gets the recognition it deserves now that it's finally fucking. Hold on, just real quick, just like imagine this scenario, Tyler and Bradley. Say you have your favorite franchise.
Okay.
Which is, for me, it's like as far as franchises go, it's probably Pokemon and then Ace Attorney.
There you go.
Say that, unbeknownst to you, since 2017, the peak of that franchise has existed, but you just never knew. First of all, you barely knew it existed. I barely even knew the second Great Ace Attorney existed. But you also never thought you would ever get it, and no one ever talks about it because the Western community doesn't know that this game is this good. And then all of a sudden, 2 new games in your favorite franchise pop up, and one of those is the peak of that. Like, it is just such a fun, weird feeling.
The second game of this collection, like, it's just like, we're fucking going, and you are not stopping, period. You're like, I hope you just beat the game literally 5 minutes ago.
Just a stealth favorite, just hiding in plain sight, and it hasn't been localized. It's just such a nice feeling.
That's crazy. I would feel like...
That's
I don't
like
know.
If all of a sudden, like, oh, you skipped this mainline Kingdom Hearts game that was actually the best, or this mainline... I don't know what this Kirby game, Bradley, that was never localized, but everyone knows is the best in Japan, and it just showed up one day. You know? Anyways,
I would feel guilty as a fan that like I hadn't gone out of my way to play it.
Anyways,
you have to learn Japanese.
People still think Investigations is the better game. I don't know why.
Dude, that's the thing. I've played all the way through a game that was only in Japanese because it never got localized to English.
To be fair, this is literally impossible to just play in Japanese.
That's the thing.
It's about understanding how words connect with each other and the logic between words.
Yeah, because the game I played fully in Japanese was like a Pokemon style game. You can't really do that with Ace Attorney.
No, God.
All right, all we got left are movies and stories.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler.
I'm awake.
You and I watched a movie called Malignant. Now, Tyler watched this movie and he put it on the list, and I was in the mood to see movies because I'd watched Old, and I was like, let's do more movie because it felt like a movie weekend. I watched a minute of a review. Chris Stuckman is a YouTube reviewer, also director. Now he's going to get to direct his own movie, which good on him. And he's like, this movie gives me hope. And then I looked at the Metacritic, and it was very middling. I was like, what the fucking ever. Sometimes I just watch weird movies. Let's go watch Malignant. Do you want to describe what Malignant is, Tyler?
Oh, shit.
So, I went in with no advertising for this movie, which I think is something to strive for in this day and age. The only reason I knew about this movie is through like marketing stuff, you know, so it's like
advertising.
Yeah, but like stills, like just still images.
Yeah.
Like you just see the name and you're like, oh, okay, sure. Like I'll put a thing to that. It seems like it's a horror, but it isn't. Like that's not what this movie is.
I watched Red Letter Media and they put a video out on this, and that's the exact same thing they said.
Did they like it?
You know, I'm good. I do this.
They like it, but not for the right reasons, if that makes sense.
Good.
What do they like it for?
Tyler, give your review first.
Yeah.
I don't think the movie's bad. I just don't think it's amazing.
The movie is weird.
Yeah.
I don't think it's weird at all. I don't think the movie's weird in any capacity for a like silly film. It's a slasher. I mean, we can give some context to it. Do we want to just dive into it?
Yeah, I mean, are y'all gonna watch this movie?
I will watch it once it is spoiled for me.
Let me just set the stage for this movie because I found out some of this midway through the movie and also after. And
I think context for this movie is also really important.
What got me to watch this movie is that it's directed by James Wan. James Wan directs so many multi-billion making franchises, such as He's made many Saw movies. He's made the Conjuring movies. He makes a bunch of like the good horror movies that horror movie people tend to like. They're like the big budget horror movies people like.
Also Aquaman.
He's also made
Aquaman.
Aquaman.
Oh, fuck.
And I love Aquaman mostly for its directing, and like the plot of Aquaman is the simplest shit. The characters are extremely simple. The directing carries that movie so hard and makes it one of my favorite, like, just put it on in the background and watch movies.
I mean, good. Like, won't deny it.
There is so much Aquaman in this fucking movie. First of all, it's very goofy and it's very campy. So this guy makes studio so much money. I feel like they gave him a blank check on this one, and he's like, "I'm gonna make a 2000s B movie," and that's what he made.
Yeah, that's like right on the nose what it feels like.
Where it has a bunch of cliches starting on. It's got like a girl who's like connected with this evil entity, and it's kind of haunting her, but it's also doing but it's also a crime serial where like this entity is going out and murdering people that are connected to each other, as you find out. And this girl, like, they blame this girl because she's weirdly connected to the crimes, but she's like, I have alibis for all these times, like, or like I was asleep or whatever. It also starts with the cheesiest fucking scene where like it's like a hospital and some creature is absorbing the energy, like it absorbs electricity.
The movie doesn't make any fucking sense with its intro, and it's like it doesn't give you any context. It's like, here's the intro, here's another part of the movie, here's another part of the movie, and it's like they chose these two actresses. And, like, at one point in the movie, a female gets kidnapped, okay?
Yes.
And you think it's the main character because they look the exact
Holy shit, that wasn't
same.
just me. Okay, I was so
these two characters look the exact same. And it gives context for that reason. I'm like, okay, fair, but you just confused half your audience with thinking your main character was kidnapped half the movie because you're skipping around from past to present and, like, other places, and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
To jog my memory of the video that I watched, this is the movie where they go into a VR space and have this weird looking.
No.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
No.
This is a movie where.
This is a movie.
And here's where the spoilers come in. So let me backtrack one step. Hold on. Let me talk about the. Yeah, go Tyler. Go.
Kelly got really high. My girlfriend got really high and watched this movie and called it in the first 10 minutes.
Damn.
What? Okay, not exactly.
No.
She called it exactly?
Yes, exactly what the entire plot was.
It is so hard to get this exactly. Good on her. Okay, so let me talk about the villain of this movie. It's a creature named Gabriel.
Oh.
And Gabriel is
you just can't call them that. Texas likes to call them babies.
Gabriel, it moves really weird, and like he wears like gloves, and he's got like the grudge hair, and when you see his face, it's like all disfigured and shit. And the way he moves is super odd. And
he's also got mantis hands.
He's got
You see that in the first 5 minutes. He's got little mantis hands.
Well, that's a whole different thing. Anyways, you find out that Gabriel was the conjoined twin of the main character, right? However, it's not a usual like side-by-side conjoined twin. It's like a weird parasite that grew in her back. So there's this VR scene, or VCR tape rather, where they're watching like the test trials with this girl, and it's like facing her dead on, and she's like talking about Gabriel and Gabriel making her do things and like how it's impacting her. And then the camera pans around her, and behind her is this little gremlin creature with like a distorted face and little mantis hands. And that's Gabriel, right? So, what they did, after Gabriel killed a bunch of people at the hospital, and he also has the power to absorb electricity and control electricity.
He's Kevin Levin.
He's Kevin Levin. And what they did is they removed him like a tumor, which is why the movie is named Malignant. However, they could only remove 90% of the mass. The rest of it they put inside her skull. which is
Whoa.
the face and brain. Years
Why?
later, the main character's gone through several miscarriages because it was Gabriel feeding on them to come back to life. And her abusive boyfriend smacks her head into like a wall in one of the first scenes. And the next night he gets killed by Gabriel. What happens is Gabriel comes out every once in a while, literally opens up from the back of her head, and his face comes out. And then he takes over and contorts her body and then moves backwards and kills people.
Wait,
Yeah.
so like, did the doctors just put the remaining 10% of him in her head as a joke, or what?
No,
Like,
if they removed that remaining 10%, they would fuck up her brain because it was like directly connected. So actually, that's fair enough. Aside from the fact that you literally like, in JoJo's Part 7 when like Tusk Act 4 like opens up the love train wall and he's like Jimmy B. You're like that's what the tumor does.
Okay.
Okay.
So the way they sell this as like part of a horror film, like it's not her, and you miss this very important part, is Gabriel actually has a Sharingan and knows Genjutsu. So
exclusively with Madison, the main character, yes.
Yeah, Gabriel is able to put Madison under Genjutsu and makes her like feel like she's just doing normal day things.
She makes her feel like she's astral projecting, but she can't move. She's like sleep paralyzing, watching Gabriel do the murder. So she's a witness to all the murders, but she thinks it's like a weird psychic connection or whatever. Now, the scene where this all comes to light, Madison's currently in a jail cell with a bunch of like trashy women, and then they get really aggressive with her and knock her head into the wall, and then Gabriel comes out. And the movie instantly goes from a weird, not very good horror movie to a extremely fun action horror movie, where Madison goes on to kill everybody in that jail cell in one of the coolest action scenes, and then goes on to defund the entire Seattle police force in a police station. I hope I can find a YouTube clip. Like the directing of, all the good directing in the action scenes in Aquaman? For some reason it's in this movie, and you get this badass fucking scene. At which point I get my phone and I message Tyler. It's like, yo, this is kind of fucking sick. Because the action just becomes so cool, and Gabriel becomes such a cool slasher villain when you finally find out what's going on.
Yeah, and that's what this movie is, and kind of said like the beginning starts off weird.
Yeah.
Okay,
and not particularly good. Yeah, that's the scene.
Everything in this movie sets it up to be a slasher, and like it is a slasher the entire movie except for the first 20 minutes, essentially. But it's just like new weird age slasher. Like it's taking the same path like Halloween is following, where like Harry, what's the main actress's name in Halloween?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, like Jamie Lee Curtis and her grandkids are fighting Jason.
Michael Myers, you mean?
Yeah, Michael Myers. And then there's like the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's like everything is finding these weird slasher vibes, and they all feel like kind of harsh knockoffs of Us.
Okay, that's a stretch.
But like they do all the same gimmicks that these old 70s and 80s movies did. They show him putting on the robe. They show the murder weapon up close like 90 bajillion times. They show him putting like donning
the murder weapon's
mask.
cool as fuck. That is like a weird Phoenix Wright murder weapon that they use.
The murder weapon turns so. Actually, Gabriel is Donatello from the Ninja Turtles because he uses a sai that he fashioned out of a medical.
Yeah,
like cancer treatment person's.
He gets a trophy that's like a sword with a snake around it, and then he just rips out the sword part and then proceeds to use that throughout the movie. It's weirdly. So I went on Reddit. I was like, "What did people think of this?" And everyone who likes this movie is like, "Yeah, this was a really weird, like middling movie," and then the twist happened, and then I loved it. So all this to say, like the execution post twist, I think is very good, and it's a fun movie because of that. I don't know if that has the scene where she's in the jail as well. That
it doesn't.
Because in the jail, it's also very fun because there's this one lady that's just throwing other girls at Gabriel while he's killing them. and like just running out of girls to throw his way, and then eventually she gets got. It's very good. Fun movie. I recommend it. Aside from the spoilers, of course, just for like having a good fun time. James Wan, just a fun director, I think.
Yeah, he's okay. I mean, I could direct a movie if I wanted.
He's also making a second Aquaman, so I hope there's more.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Shit. All
Give
right.
me more.
What is Mother of Learning? Will you teach me, Bradley?
Man, I am excited to talk about this. This is just a fucking good book that you're like, man, people should just know this shit exists. It takes two. It's something I initially tried to read several years ago, but I got caught up with all the chapters that were currently out, and so it finished, and now I'm like, oh my god.
Is it a web serial?
It is. So it was published one chapter at a time, and the thing about web serials is 98% of them are just garbage.
Oh, come on, man. They're putting themselves out there.
Yeah, 2% of them, though, are fucking great. This one is fucking great. Essentially, it takes two tropes that have been done very many times and just combines them in a very fun way for me. Essentially, young boy, I don't know, I think he's probably like 14 or 15 or some shit. He's going off to magical boarding school adventure like Harry Potter, Little Witch Academia or whatever. And a few months into his first semester, at this big festival that they throw every year, essentially this huge army of like every single evil magical creature you can think of comes and like just brutally berserk eclipses everybody.
Jesus. Is that brutal?
It's pretty fucking bad.
Okay.
And so as soon as that happens, he wakes up back in his room several days before he went to school, his sister jumping on him, trying to wake him up. He's like, fuck off. And then he realizes he's back to before school started again. And he goes back to school. He's like, this is fucking weird that I just imagined.
Like first day of school or that morning?
It's essentially magical boarding school adventure mixed with the Groundhog Day, where
Groundhog months, I guess.
Yeah. It's like he keeps doing the first few months of school, and then basically the capital city of their country, which is where his school is, just gets fucking annihilated by this evil army. They kill everyone. They topple the country. Blah blah blah. And I don't know. I'm not gonna be very spoilery just because there would be a lot to talk about. But I just want to talk about like the aspects I really love about this story, especially compared to other things that follow some of the same tropes. Like the easiest thing to compare it to is Harry Potter, just because they're both like teenage boy, magical boarding school adventure, fighting evil people. Man, I love Harry Potter so much, but at the end of the day, Harry Potter is a very character-centric story, which is usually a good thing, but it's kind of character-centric to a fault, to where at times I feel like J.K. Rowling just didn't care about some other aspects of her story. Mm-hmm. The magic system in Harry Potter is so terrible. There's some really cool spells, but I don't know. It's pretty lame.
They're
and
all
basic
obsoleted, right, by Avada Kedavra or whatever.
Yeah, like the only offensive spell the bad guys ever use is Avada Kedavra, because why the fuck would you not use it? And then even then, sometimes the magic is a little arbitrary in funny ways, where there's a Alohomora, which can unlock any door, but then there's also a spell to just make a lock immune to that. So, I don't know.
Enough, those are two different spells in D&D, so, I mean, not too bad. They're counter...
I guess the use is you use it on Muggle doors where they haven't done the spell.
So, I don't know. The magic system in Harry Potter is not that great. Fights are never that exciting. You usually come to it for the character moments. Mother of Learning. Oh, and it's called Mother of Learning because there's like a saying, repetition is the mother of learning, and this guy basically has to
repeat.
Yeah, he's repeating, learning new magics, learning more about the world, and like what resources he can draw on to try to stop everybody from getting killed. Magic system in this, pretty fucking badass. Second only to probably Pact. But man, I don't know. The fights in this are always so hype, and this is a really weird thing to note on because it's not usually like an active element you're looking for in stories, but I really feel like this story is good at conveying the difference in power level between two opponents. Because like when the main character is outclassed, I, sitting there reading it, feel just like pressure on my head. Like, oh my God, how could you ever beat this person?
That's that good shonen storytelling right there.
I know. And that's, like I said, that's usually not something you remark on in stories, but it's so prevalent and well done here that I'm like, oh my God, like, the gargantuan task before this teenage boy is overwhelming. And man, I gotta talk about this character. He has a very subtle character arc that I really like. He, he's not bad at magic, but he's not great either. He's about average. If anything, he's maybe above average because, he works really hard, but for the most part, he's a very irritable teenage boy who just kind of wants to be good at magic. I don't know. His parents really like his older brothers because they're like world famous, and he's like, I'm gonna graduate.
Are they a magical family?
Yes, they are. And that, I guess one comparison with Harry Potter is the whole world is magic here. So you're not exactly special. Just not everybody goes for a career in magic because it's kind of like a scholarly thing, but there's also some dumbass motherfuckers who can do magic. So
some My Hero vibes here and there.
Yeah, but he has a very subtle character arc where he is very irritable. And if you were to ask him, he would tell you that he doesn't like people very much. And you can get that vibe in the way that he speaks to people. But over the course of the story, I think it's really endearing how subtly it's revealed that I think he actually has a very big heart. Like whenever he first learns about the time loop, he does decide he wants to stop it. But he kind of thinks to himself, I'm not a fundamentally selfless person. I'm not going to find a way that saves everybody, but also ends up with me sacrificing myself. He's like, I'm only going to save everybody if I also get saved.
Young lady who goes into a planet assuming their death.
Yeah. And, man, and there's just also moments where, he doesn't like being around crowds, and I'm only going to spoil stuff if I think it's minor and would kind of help grow intrigue in the story. He really hates crowds, but part of that is empaths in this story just like naturally feel the emotions of people around them. So when he's in big crowds, he's getting like a very overwhelming fix of emotions. Interesting. And he later learns how to use that to his advantage.
Cool.
And seeing his mind evolve throughout the story is interesting because by the time you're about halfway through the story...
Do you mean evolve or devolve?
Kind of both.
Oh,
okay.
Oh, no.
Because by the time you're about halfway through the story, I think he has spent more of his life in this time loop than he has spent before it.
Fuck.
Damn.
Okay, that's drastic.
So he's older than some of his teachers and definitely older than all of his classmates.
I always think it'd be interesting to have a story where there is a character that's like in a Groundhog Day scenario, but your main character doesn't know that's happening. So you just have this guy that's like a god walking in the background. And
fun fact about that. The author of Worm and Pact and stuff, he wrote a short story that is a horror story. The main character is in someone else's Groundhog Day loop.
Ooh.
And so she's basically like sitting in a coffee shop and this guy comes up to her. Oh my God, he's so charming. He knows all the perfect stuff to say. And at the end of the story, you basically find out that he's been living like millions of years in this time loop. And the only hobby he has left now is like learning everything about a person. So he knows how to like inflict the perfect emotional and physical torture.
That is such a... I can already tell how he writes that story. That is such a Wild Bow story.
And at the end of it, he's like, you just unknowingly gave me like the next step I need. And so in the next loop, he's like, I think I'm going to have you.
Oh, that's gross. Wild Bow.
So it's pretty creepy. But
everyone buy Deathloop.
yeah, this character stuck in this loop for like more than their life. There's kind of two ways that can go. Either they become disenfranchised with humanity. They're like, people are so predictable. And he kind of actually starts out that way, where he's like, oh my God, this fucking classmate is so predictable. I can play him like a fiddle. But over time, it kind of goes the reverse way. And you see him grow appreciation for people he used to hate or be annoyed with. And by extension, for people he hasn't had like a lot of interaction with, he's like, oh man, maybe like, you know, all these people are living lives just as complex as mine and stuff like that.
How long is this? That's the question that's been on my mind.
It's shorter than Pact, but even Pact is...
Fucking everything should be shorter than Wild Bow stories.
So, but, no, it's, I think it's a really cool, subtle character arc with him. And aside from that, the story just does some really cool creative stuff with the time loop, where it's like, maybe we don't want our main character to stay alone in the story forever. So, oh, you know what? He eventually finds this person who can read and manipulate minds. And after a few loops, you know, able to convince them he's in a time loop. And they're like, okay, I don't believe you right now, but here's what we're going to do. If what you're saying is true, I'll put a memory in your head with information only I would know. Come back to me in the next loop. Convince me not to kill you again. You already know how to do that. And they're like, tell me to read your mind. They're like, tell me to read your mind. I'll see the memory and be like, okay, we're good. And then from there, just like at the end of every loop, they just like implant memories of everything that happened that loop into his head. And so like the first thing he does every loop is like, okay, I got to go to this person and like tell him to read my mind. So I have an ally.
That's 3 time loop stories in this podcast right now.
I know, what the fuck? We got a title off
baby.
that.
There's Neo, Deathloop, and now this.
And
Here's what we do: is we take the first half of this podcast and now put it in right here, and then so they get really confused.
Hey, welcome guys. We got some stuff to talk about. Let's just jump into it. Bradley, do you have any do you have any like quick talks you wanted to do?
Nah, because most of my weekly is Genshin, and Tyler's got a segment on that later.
All right. Well, Joe, go ahead.
Yeah. So I watched a show called Sex Education.
Yeah, we did it.
Everyone clapped. I'm trying to think what else. I also really love seeing how reading this story is like watching the butterfly effect happen in real time. Because like, for example, like one arc, the character is like, oh my God, I have spent basically, you know, years in my mind trying to accomplish this one task. Can't do it. Fuck it. I'm out of options. I'm just going to die over and over at this festival. And then like the start of the loop is always his sister jumping on him to wake him up. And he says like one very subtly sentence different. And then like, oh my God, now like we just branched the entire story. Now he's going to end up in this continent and do this shit and blah, 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 blah. And you're like, what? Yeah,
I guess it is months, right? So yeah. Like, that's enough time for a butterfly effect to really start branching.
Yeah,
So that's really cool. I'm guessing there's no audiobook for this, so you have to fucking.
I think there is one.
Shut the fuck up.
But I don't know if it's good or not.
I will find out for us.
And also the world building is so cool because he's the first few loops of the story it does. Is kind of a lot of describing his surroundings, and I think that could be the main deterrent to the beginning of the story. But I kind of did like the stuff he was describing, and it turns out later on that like pretty much everything he describes is extremely important because like he'll always notice this like rat whenever he's on his way to school that scurries off into an alleyway. And then later on, you realize, like, oh my God, there's a whole network of these rats that share a hive mind, and they're communicating information to one of his enemies and shit like that.
Ratcatcher 2, baby.
And man, I don't know. It's just also the writing quality of this, I think, is notably pretty good. I think this guy kind of has a way with words.
Good.
And I'm giving him a few extra points there because English is not his native language.
What?
He went on record saying, I want to try to pronounce the author's name. I really do. But, man, I'm so sorry. Domagoj Kermaik.
Oh my gosh.
He explicitly says he chose to write the story in English because more people on the internet know English. So, man, you did great.
Bradley, when are you gonna make a web serial or web manga? You have to do one. A gun to your head.
I'm going to make a line webtoon.
Okay, I have a webtoon side story.
Oh, shit.
The other day for work, we tagged into a Unity talk with like actual Unity people where they were going over some ways to optimize the UI. And it came up that one of the people presenting has a webtoon called Simon Sues, which is a story about a law student who like prosecutes against demons and shit.
Okay.
Which I always want that story. That always seems so good to me.
Yeah, let's fucking go.
I've read the first few chapters. Anyways, moving on. Not very worth bringing up.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I got on mine. It's a good fucking story. If you want a good magical boarding school adventure, this is the place to go.
It certainly ain't fucking pale. Hey, side note, I'm on ARC 14.3 of Pact. If anyone out there has been waiting for more Pact and you made it to this point of the podcast, first of all, I don't believe you exist. Second of all, Pact soon.
Man, I fucking Pact around arc 7. I was like, man, this story started out strong, and every single arc has been better than the last one. And I was worried that like that wasn't going to age well for me, and like I don't know, the story would start declining, and only the beginning is good. But holy fuck, man, the story continues to deliver.
Yeah, it does. Arc 10, I would say, is a slight dip, but it's setting up for some really interesting stuff. Anyways, Tyler, do you still want to do Ted Lasso?
Ooh.
Yo, yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
So I've been seeing advertising for this show everywhere, and
Actually,
it was like,
pause.
Pause again.
Let's set up a new thing.
no.
No, because
Really?
there's also Shang-Chi, and like 3 of your
yeah.
Oh shit.
All right. Tell me about Ted Lasso.
Oh yeah.
Y'all, so I was on this flight, and they're like, here, watch some shit. And I see Ted Lasso's on there. And I was like, oh, I've been seeing a lot about that movie. Oh, maybe. And then I went on this 6-mile hike with this dude in Colorado, and he's like, oh, I watched Ted Lasso. I love it. So I was like, all right, I'll watch Ted Lasso on the way home. They only had 2 episodes on this flight. And boy, after 2 episodes, I was hooked. Because you know what? I love me some Jason Sudeikis. That guy is top-notch entertainment right there.
Jason Sudeikis, not Egg Helms.
Yeah. The show is about a football coach from America who goes to be a football coach in Europe. And those are 2 different things. Whoa.
Now, is it American football in Europe or soccer?
It's soccer.
It's soccer.
Those are 2 different things.
But the show's more the show's actually about it's really like a sports anime, to be honest. I think that's why I enjoy it. It's just real people this time. Like everybody's got their own shit that they're going through. Everybody's got their own like dilemmas going on. There's like some drama between like the athletics and competition, and it's like, will they get regulated or not? I just thought it was an overly wholesome show. It reminded me of like Parks and Rec in a sense, where they have this nice little community of people who work together, but they do soccer instead. I thought it was nice. I would recommend watching it. Would not recommend paying for Apple TV, which is what it's on.
I was about to say, where does
very
one watch
easily accessible through other means.
Oh yeah. Oh, I can do anything. I set my mind to.
Cool. The show in anime way. I want to squeeze in one free talk segment really quickly here.
All right. I mean, we have a new talk, and I have pizza in my hand, so you're good.
Yeah. Everyone go read Down to Dawn. I'm like the 3rd arc just finished. It's quickly rising to becoming one of my favorite new mangas out there. It's going to get an anime probably within the next year or 2, I think.
Joe, we covered Dawn to Dawn on this channel. You don't have to.
I understand. I just want to keep promoting it because it's really good.
I say we cover as I don't catch up. Soon, I promise. We're going to talk about it soon.
I just want to plug it so I can force Willer into reading it for me because a new character just got introduced. Man, that character like hits a lot of fetishes for people.
Not you?
No, I never said not me.
Okay, just for people. All right,
I'll post it and then you can make your.
All right, y'all. Why don't you-
Yeah, I'm gonna need to analyze here.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a picture here.
Yeah, hold on.
Bradley, you would like Dawn to Dawn. You don't.
You would love Dawn to Dawn.
I think I looked up the premise of it and it did sound cool. Isn't it like a person who doesn't believe in aliens and someone who doesn't believe in ghosts? And
But it's really a romance story at the end of the day about those two characters.
Ooh, hold on.
It's really good.
The art is fucking phenomenal. The art is out of this world in Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
She's posted.
why don't y'all talk about Shang-Chi?
Yeah.
Oh my god, y'all! This movie's badass. Number one,
Shang-Chi and the Legend of Marvel's next 10 years.
man. Number one, I think it's cool that they made a movie that I feel like if you didn't watch any other MCU movies, you could still watch this and it would be badass because other Marvel characters don't really show up until like the post-credits scene.
Yeah, 100%. And that was, I think going into this when they were making this movie, was like, we need to make one movie that is an entryway point to the rest of this universe.
Yeah.
You know? Which is a very comic booky thing to do, is that you have one line that's more of a kind of like gate stream into the rest of the mainline stuff.
Dude, and by the way, I told people about this in Discord, and I don't know, Joe and Tyler, y'all both watched this at Alamo Drafthouse too?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Man, they had this really cool presentation that played before the movie that was talking about like supernatural Chinese martial arts films in the 1970s and how they influenced Hollywood and how Shang-Chi draws inspiration from them. And dude, like one of my favorite parts of going to see Shang-Chi was watching that presentation, because some of those movies from like 1973, I was like, this is badass. Like someone did a fucking Luffy extendo leg kick, and when it got to full extension, it shot out these lasers, and then there's like this battle between the good guy and the bad guy where they turn into rock, paper, scissors and have to battle in the heavens. And I was like, what the fuck?
You're saying this is sick? Let me get this straight.
I thought it was pretty badass.
The Alamo Drafthouse always does cool stuff like that. Like when I went to go watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood there, it did this whole thing where like it showed a lot of like what was going on in that time and what inspired Tarantino. Anyways, Drafthouse is great for stuff like that.
Yeah. When I saw Suicide Squad, they went to the history of Polka Dot Man, which was really cool. Anyway, small tangent aside, Alamo Drafthouse, if you have one nearby, please support them. They are actually a small studio that could use support when it comes to it, and they're very keen in making sure no one talks in a fucking movie.
Oh, dude. Plus, the food was actually really good.
Yeah, that's it.
And the best part about it, let me talk about this. The best part about it, is you have people that wait on you, and you don't have to say a fucking word to them.
Mm-hmm.
You just write down your order, and then it magically comes to you. It's the future of service, you know?
Anyway, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, very, very good. Has probably the best choreography in any Marvel film.
Oh, these are my favorite. Like outside of maybe like some super hype moments in Endgame. No, actually, you know what? I was about to say, okay, maybe Endgame has some better fights. No, I think Shang-Chi just has my favorite fights in the MCU. Endgame kind of has some of that hype factor because of the story moments, but like
Infinity War has fights over Endgame.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually, no, you're right. You're right. I think I always get the titles confused.
But either way, Shang-Chi's heads and shoulders above him.
Oh, the fights are so I watched this movie and I was like, if anyone could do like Dragon Ball Z combat in live action, it would be Marvel Studios. Not that all the combat in this is Dragon Ball Z like. In fact, only a little bit of it is. But I don't know. It's just so extra, and I love it.
Yeah,
So,
I think. So what's funny is that before I saw this movie, I was in Dallas with Willer and Tyler, and we watched Rush Hour, and which has Jackie Chan, and I was talking about like, man, they don't make fun fight choreography where it's like you have all this shit going on, but at the same time you know what's happening. Like Jackie Chan's holding up this vase to not break it, so he's pushing it up, fighting a dude, grabbing it and pushing it back up again. It's really fun and dynamic. And Shang-Chi does that in spades. Like I feel like every fight has some sort of like additional plot point around it that the characters have to move around with their both physically and kind of like mentally. Like there's
incredibly Jackie Chan. That is like that makes me want to see it even more. Actually,
Yeah, it's like either you have to fight off like a crowd of people who can one hit kill while also protecting your friend, or there's some time sensitive objective that you're trying to get to while also fighting off these people.
Or you're on the scaffolding of a skyscraper and your friend has no martial arts experience and you need to like make sure they can make it off the scaffolding.
Every setting for every fight was unique. There was the bus, the scaffolding, like
different daylight segments too, but they're still clear, so it's dark, but like it's not you can't see anything. You know exactly what's happening.
Oh dude, and also, man, one of my favorite supporting characters in Marvel, Katie, she was just fucking hilarious.
The Aquafina?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So
She was great.
I was afraid she'd be cringy.
no, she's
She's good, but she's still Aquafina, and I can't send Aquafina's voice.
Oh.
What do you mean?
I felt like
Sounds like a sorority girl who yelled at too many parties. That's
not
exactly
wrong.
what she sounds
Jesus,
like.
that is very
but
accurate.
I think Shang-Chi and Katie, like their relationship is great. They don't make a romantic point in the movie. It could develop into that later for sure. But they're very much like, no, we're friends and we're not going to make any kind of romantic moves on each other throughout the entirety of the movie, which is nice.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like a basic understanding of like who each other is and getting to know each other. What's the weirdest thing about this movie is Shang-Chi was like, yeah, I graduated college in 2017. I was like,
Ah, fuck.
yeah,
No. He works as a
valet driver.
yeah, he's a valet.
So we're winning. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he's also Shang-Chi, but
So we're
you know,
losing.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
He has Soul's unnerfed Far Slash.
He does.
That's the first move he does in the whole movie. He
is.
just
It's
Far
great.
Slashing somebody.
Counter.
Somebody in choreography was like looking at Guilty Gear and they go, you know what?
Yeah. His sister does Giovanna's close slash at one point too. But the movie is great. I would say plot wise, it's not the most in depth. Actually, I wouldn't
Dude,
say that.
I
think
love the plot. The plot was great because
yeah.
the bad guy was not bad guy, you know?
I heard
Yeah.
the bad guy was actually pretty good.
The
guy was
father
great.
in this movie is actually stellar. I really like what they did with him.
I don't know. I don't think this should count against the story, but I'm gonna be mean anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like movies nowadays are kind of just saturated with like surprise twist villains or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What I appreciated about this movie is that, like, from the very beginning, you knew who the main bad guy was. You know the fight that's eventually going to happen, and it's just like experiencing the trip to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I do like that. You kind of establish your villain early, and I think they did a really good job of making him also empathetical. Like when you kind of sit down and talk to him, he's an actual person, which is weird considering his whole background.
That's the thing. Like, if I believed the things that he believed, I would definitely be doing what he does.
Especially with the power that he had. Like, why wouldn't you try that? I think Shang-Chi, in the grand scheme of the Marvel Universe, it's important because it introduces Shang-Chi, but it doesn't it's not like Loki or WandaVision where it connects all these other things, but like just pulling it out is just a really
I think
good
that's
film.
fantastic too, because even like there were concepts that's like, whoa, how do we not know about Shang-Chi? And it like kind of, explores that a little bit too. And I'm like, yeah, that's neat.
Mm-hmm.
Are the 10 rings better than they were in Iron Man 3? I'll just ask that.
Hey, were the 10 rings in Iron Man?
Are they in Iron Man 3?
Yeah, so
Yes,
okay.
yes. Oh, no, don't spoil it for him. Don't spoil
No,
anything.
I'm not. Okay, so
Is Trevor in this movie? And by
the
that,
actual
I'm not
Mandarin.
gonna tell anything.
No, he's not in this movie.
Oh.
The actual Mandarin is an actual Iron Man villain, and his organization's been in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Ten Rings, since Iron Man 1. Like, that's the terrorist organization he fights. I just think it's funny that they bring it back around finally.
Yeah, hold on. So is this supposed to be? I guess it's just a whole different Mandarin at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
Don't worry about it.
if we were in the comics, this would be the Iron Man villain too, right? This would be like
Correct.
An intersection?
Yeah, this would be the guy that has the 10 rings and whatnot.
You address it like he's like,
Yeah.
they piss me off.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But no, I don't want to go more into the movie because one, it's simple, so there's not a lot of deep exploration I feel into it, which is fine. And number two, it's definitely a movie you need to go and experience and watch. And I highly recommend going to see it in a theater. It's got great action sequences. It's got great visual effects.
If you want to do spoilers, I can go take a lap.
No, I don't think so.
It's a good movie. And you know, if you don't like Marvel movies, it's okay to say you don't like Marvel movies.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Everyone has to love them.
But
I got off on a tirade on this like Reddit post about like people who just they're like, what's an unpopular Marvel movie opinion? And I scrolled to the very bottom or to the controversial posts.
the actual unpopular opinion.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It was just awful.
I think what's also really cool about this movie is how heavily Asian the cast is, and I'm very happy that it's doing very, very well. Like, it's breaking records.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Way to go.
I think there's maybe one or two white people in this movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I was about to make a comparison that I don't know if is accurate, where I was about to say, Black Panther, but for,
Well, I was just thinking of Black
Asians in
Panther.
America.
But then I thought about like the pilot in that movie that felt so forced as just like, hey, there's a white guy here too. Hold on.
Yeah.
Not Martin Short.
Martin. Yeah.
Yeah. The Hobbit, Bilbo Baggins.
Martin.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. His name is Martin.
Oh, on God? Yeah.
On God.
Whatever.
All right.
Cool. Well, it was
Yeah.
nice. It was nice having a not Willer discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Good riddance.
I like hearing y'all do your thing.
I expect Willard to have seen Shang-Chi by the time I come in this weekend.
Or we all just go watch it again, but also with Willow this time.
We could do that on Friday.
It'd be cool if friends came to watch a movie with
I
you.
would be Omega down to watch that movie.
I really want to see it again. So
Alamo Draft House?
Yeah.
Tyler, you better come. We came to yours.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guilt you.
Yeah, about that.
Only certain people get the big. Tyler
I
drive.
may have to pull, like, I may not sleep this week trying to get work done.
Shit.
All right, better get back right when we're done. All right, Joe, do you have a question of the day? Because if not, I got one.
I do not. Go ahead and do yours.
What are your favorite movie actors or TV actors? Like who you like seeing on the silver screen?
Oh man,
That's a good question.
I can open with some of mine.
Go ahead.
Jamie Foxx is weirdly good in every movie he's in.
Okay.
Throw him out there. I really like Leo DiCaprio.
Quentin Tarantino, got it.
Oh, no, Leo's also like I like him in he's not in The Departed, is he? No, I'm thinking of Nicholson, who I also like.
Yeah.
I might forget names of actors I like. What's a
I
good
think-
female? I love anything with Alison Brie because I have a huge crush on her, and also
Yeah.
Kristen Bell.
okay,
Yeah.
but hear me out though.
Okay.
Florence Pugh.
Well, I knew this was a question where I was like, I know one of the answers. Bradley, you're mandatory. Need to come up with at least one more. I'm not.
No, yeah, she's phenomenal. But dude, Aaron Paul,
Oh, it
He-
sucks because
he's astounding.
it sucks because he's only like in two things where he's like gets to be his full maximum strength, and those two things are Breaking Bad and El Camino.
He's not like classically trained, right?
No, I don't think so.
I think he just talks about like, I think he has his ways to get into character, but
He was just like bitch, and then he did it.
yeah, nah, he's phenomenal.
I mean, fucking Bryan Cranston
Yeah, I mean, he's
Can
okay.
really kill it as well.
I think for me, it's I need to make sure I'm I need to make sure I'm looking up the right one because it's Mysterio from Spider-Man.
Oh, Jake Gyllenhaal is fantastic.
Jake Gyllenhaal. He's in one of my top 5 movies ever, which is The Nice Guys, which I will continue to keep barraging y'all to watch because I watch that movie and I laugh every single fucking time.
You sure do.
It's so funny. It's him.
It needs to be a bit at this point where we deny Joe the release of us.
And the thing is, y'all keep getting confused with The Other Guys, which is also a funny movie, and they're both buddy cop movies. But I think he's really good. And his counter is Jake Gyllenhaal also the guy in La La Land, or is that another one? That's
white boy, every guy. He's good. What's his name?
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling.
Oh.
Ryan Gosling's in Nice Guys. Jake Gyllenhaal, I just also like, but they do look very similar.
I suppose.
I like the two of them. Female wise, that's a little bit harder for me, unfortunately. God, I know there are some that I'm like, oh, I just like that. Like Eva Green is one that I've always really liked, but she doesn't do a lot more stuff anymore. God, I can't think at this moment. Sarah Chalk, I always thought was funny. She's in Scrubs. She's in Rick and Morty.
I'm trying to think of some other female actresses I like.
There's Scarlett Johansson as well, but I only really know her.
The
from
thing
Marvel.
with ScarJo is that ScarJo is someone you can just throw into any movie to get it greenlit, because she's Scarlett Johansson, and she doesn't always put her best. But I think in like Jojo Rabbit and her, she's so good in those 2 movies.
Can we talk about Jojo Rabbit more? That movie is
Jojo Rabbit's so fucking good. You know who I'm tired of? You know what? Let me take a negative spin. I'm just fucking tired of Taika Waititi. He wins too much in life, okay? And everyone loves him, and he's super charming. And I'm
I finally broke when I decided to put on Green Lantern as kind of like I'm waking up in the morning and he fucking shows up in that movie. I was like, you've got to be shitting me. And this was like the day after we did a podcast and Willer was complaining about it.
Oh, I've done this before, haven't I? Tyler, will you go?
Oh, dude, y'all ready for me to go off?
Yeah.
So, I wasn't ready to go off. Y'all got me off, not prepared. Okay. I'm gonna do my famous lists first. All right. So it's like I enjoy Robert Downey Jr. I like some of his earlier work too. And I mean, like before Tropic Thunder, he's got this movie where he plays a principal with a young troubled kid. It's struggling to come to me right now.
Let me throw in one to give you some time. Batista's weirdly good in movies.
Oh yeah, he's great.
I want to see more John Cena after Suicide Squad.
After Suicide Squad, I'm ready for the Age of Cena.
Yeah, same.
Movies.
Charlie
Dwayne Rock Johnson's also fun. I really liked him in Jungle Cruise, but he also plays like the same character everywhere.
Who's that, Tyler? Charlie who?
So, Robert Downey Jr., like one of the first movies I ever saw him in was a movie called Charlie Bartlett. Came out in 2007, right before Iron Man, like as he was coming out. Also stars one of my other favorite actors, Anton Yelkin, who sadly has passed.
Yeah, poor dude.
Damn, he was doing some crazy good work. Jesse Eisenberg.
Andy Samberg.
Andy Samberg's in some good movies, I'll say.
Yeah. Also Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which just ended.
No, Jesse Eisenberg.
I know.
No,
okay.
Hold on. You're talking about the Lonely Island guy. What is happening? That's a different
I'm talking
guy.
about Jesse Eisenberg.
That's a different guy.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Why is Joe talking about Andy Samberg?
Because they look like each other and remind me of Andy Samberg, and I like Andy Samberg. You're killing me.
Okay, good. Okay, all right, go on.
Anyway.
Oh, I like Charlie Day. I have a soft spot for Charlie Day.
Oh, Charlie Day's great. I also like Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, thank you. Kristen Stewart's great.
He's fantastic. Woody Harrelson.
I really like Woody Harrelson.
I enjoy Will Smith movies. I haven't seen a Will Smith movie that I've never not been a fan of, to be honest.
I'm not
Suicide
a Will
Squad
Smith fan.
Like, I even don't hate, like,
He's the
I
best
saw
part of Suicide
bits of
Squad,
Suicide Squad, and it's like, I'm still okay with that.
Hey, you know who can do it all? Shia LaBeouf.
Shia
Okay.
LaBeouf is pretty good.
Shia LaBeouf is really good in Honey Boy, which I talked about before, where he plays his dad. He's very good in that movie.
Y'all, Dwayne Johnson and Nicolas Cage are high up on my list of content I enjoy.
I gotta ask you on The Rock. The Rock's very
hold
charming,
on.
but he's always The Rock. And if Bradley was in here in video call, he would be doing the eyebrow raise and saying he always does that.
Yeah, man. The Rock's cool, but like,
I don't know if
I
he's
think
hype.
Cena's better.
is he a good actor?
No. I didn't. The question was not what who
Okay.
you enjoy.
I just think that's an overrated pick. I'm just gonna judge
Yeah.
on taste.
Nicolas Cage, though, he's got a new movie that just came out. All right.
Yeah, I fuck with Nick Cage.
I highly recommend watching his most recent movie where it's like a what is that game? The horror game that came out, Five Nights at Freddy's.
What about it?
He has a great movie.
He does a great Freddy.
It's called Willy's Wonderland, all right?
Oh.
This movie is fan-fucking-tastic. I would talk about it on the podcast, except it's great if you just don't know anything other than Nicolas Cage is in it.
Ooh. I had one.
Killed everybody. They're all
gone.
dead now.
Oh,
It's gone. This is where we fizzle out as I forget.
Tom Hanks and Will Ferrell.
Tom Hanks. Will Ferrell has his moments.
Yo.
what about Chet Hanks?
Bradley Cooper.
Oh, he's so beautiful.
He is though. He's so fucking
10 out of
handsome.
10.
Oh, that is a great pick, actually. Like, he's so fucking charming.
Yeah,
Like, even in The Hangover, which is just trash on top of trash, I'm like, yeah, there he is.
that's the thing. Is like, I have willingly rewatched the Hangover movies because I just liked Bradley Cooper's character.
Yo, we talking about Daisy Ridley?
Okay, I think Daisy Ridley is gorgeous and very good at
I do
acting.
too.
I just think she got a bad rap. You know who? I think Jennifer Lawrence has gotten a bad rap. She can be very good in movies.
I think we all like Jennifer Lawrence, you know. It's like-
Man, I remember when Jennifer Lawrence was like the obsession of the internet.
Dude,
Oh,
in 2013, she was the move, man.
Yeah, she was. Katniss Everdeen.
Oh,
Man.
what a great franchise.
Silver Linings
What
Playbook.
fun.
So yeah, I really liked her in Silver Lining. Oh,
There's-
fucking Black Swan girl, Emily Portman,
Oh.
Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman's
There
good.
you go.
Oh, Easy A girl. What's her name?
Emma Stone.
Stone.
Emma Stone.
Let's just wrap it up with Emma Stone.
Yo,
Yeah.
no. Mila Kunis.
Okay.
Oh,
Mila Kunis, just you should have wrapped it up with Emma Stone. I think
Yeah.
you're doing the vibe, man. Emma Stone's actually a good actress. That's very mean. Mila Kunis just isn't quite at that level. But-
Yeah.
Well, okay. We did mention the two main characters of La La Land, so I guess we're
You
basic.
know what?
Anyways,
Very
Moonlight,
basic.
you win Best Picture.
Congratulations, Moonlight.
Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.
but